6 sensories that 5 sensories want. So today I'm going to talk about a topic that may strike some of you the wrong way. You might think, why would I even want a 5 sensory to want me? Because I would only go for another 6 sensory. And actually that's a very fair and valid response. Maybe as an intuitive, you want to find another intuitive person to partner with. That's amazing. If you can find another intuitive partner who's a great fit for you, then that's absolutely amazing. Having said that, that's not what we're talking about today. A lot of intuitive people, for example, will hate living in the city. That's not me. I actually live in the city. But many will live out in the country because they find all of the vibrations of the city too negative and overwhelming. I'm actually dealing with this right now in my city. There's just too much traffic, too much construction, too many grumpy people. And my coping mechanism as an intuitive now is I figured out a bike path where I can bike and go to my local fitness center and park my bike safely. I had to do a lot of research that I had to manifest a bike. I got one for free. And then really figure out where is it safe to bike, where is it safe to keep a bike, and what kind of gym fitness center I can go to in order to put the bike there. And I figured out all those details so I can kind of protect myself from all of the negative energy of the traffic on the road. So I guess my point is, as a 6 sensory, you can find hacks and ways around the negative energies of cities and really enjoy and embrace living in the city. But many intuitive people live in the country. And so when you live in the country and there's like only 1,000 people in your local village, most likely they're all going to be 5 sensory, very likely. So how do you make a 5 sensory who could potentially be very skeptical of your lifestyle as a 6 sensory want you? So that's a really good question. So the first point that I want to make is that you need to feel good in your body as a 6 sensory. This does not mean you have a perfect body and that you're totally athletic and toned and you are looking a certain way. So people that look a certain way, I'll give you a secret, the people who are really attractive still struggle in their relationships quite often when they don't have real wisdom behind the looks. And so it's very hard work and a lot of time and energy, and you may beat yourself up in the process of trying to look a certain way. And then at the end of the day, it won't necessarily attract the right kind of healthy relationship to you. So I'm not saying you shouldn't work out or you shouldn't focus on that at all. As long as you've got good core health, even if you're a little bit overweight or a little bit imperfect in one way or the other, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Same with age. Like, some people worry a lot about age. I would say as long as you're doing a good job of having good values, being a good person, and really taking good care of yourself, making effort to work out, even if you're a little bit imperfect or a different age than someone else, it doesn't matter that much as long as you're putting your best foot forward and you feel good in your own skin. That's really the critical piece that will allow you to attract a 5 sensory partner. And they may even be intellectually critical of your belief system and your lifestyle of as a 6 sensory. Having said that, you can still attract them by being really happy in your own skin. So 5 sensories are really attracted to 6 sensories that are wise. When we're not the type to send long texts and be like, when are we going to get married, and all those silly things. Or if you look at another person, I'm going to get jealous. When we don't have those negative qualities, 5 sensories find us very attractive because many other 5 sensories and even sometimes 6 sensory people do have those qualities. So when we do a good job of putting our best foot forward and we have faith in ourselves, 5 sensories find us very attractive, even if we have other qualities that they disagree with. And one of my favorite mentors in Alberta was a medium, and what was interesting about her is she actually had a TV show. Her husband ended up supporting her, so he ended up being the stay-at-home husband. He didn't believe in what she was doing, but he supported her in what she was doing. So that was very interesting to me to see. Like, he wasn't the provider anymore, she was. But he was very supportive around the household and keeping the property clean and making sure the events went smoothly. And he was 100% practical and there for her. So that kind of partnership is totally possible. even if you're a 6 sensory in a relationship with a 5 sensory who has a very different belief system than you. If you are both feeling good in your own skin and you've got a good connection, you don't have to worry so much about their criticism. But the next tip I have after feeling good in your own skin and having a good, healthy lifestyle, and by the way, a good diet is very important. Eating fresh vegetables, eating organic when you can, absolutely helpful too to help you feel good in your own skin. Avoiding drugs, alcohol, that's a whole big thing to talk about health, but those are some quick tips there. The next step is that you have to be comfortable in your own skin spiritually, not just your physical skin, but your spiritual identity. If you feel insecure or depressed about who you are as a 6 sensory, and everybody goes through depression sooner or later these days, even the most expert, skilled intuitives who really can help people and skillfully move them in the right direction in their lives. When they get depressed, or when anybody gets depressed, we can't put our best foot forward in relationships, either with 5 sensories or 6 sensories. We're hoping to be rescued. We're hoping somebody will tell us we're okay. And when we're in that state, that's when we're very vulnerable to getting into an abusive relationship with anyone, 5 sensory or 6 sensory. And so you have to believe that what you're saying is going to really help people, that you have valuable wisdom to share with the world. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe in your own values, then you have to either change your value system if that really resonates with you, or you have to find some new way to believe in yourself. And sometimes our value system can just be like an inch off. For example, when I was in my 20s, I was really ingrained that the right thing to do is to get married and have children. And this is what I mean by millimeters off in your belief system. There's nothing wrong with that, but it was very critical and an important life lesson for me to not be attached to that. I had to let go of the attachment, because the attachment to that would get me in trouble, potentially in my relationships with 5 sensories who wanted to take their time and get to know me before they decided to initiate any kind of serious commitment. And that is very fair and valid. Having said that, I was really breastfed the other way, that people need to get into serious relationships quickly, and so that was something I had to learn all over again from scratch and really adjust my identity, really just a millimeter, say, hey, this is okay, there's nothing wrong with this, and there is space for this too. Often our belief system just has a few nuances or a few degrees off sometimes, and when we're a little bit off reading life, that is enough that really can cause depression and chaos, because then the manifestation that we're looking to create doesn't happen because we are slightly off in the way that we read life or view things in our life. So that's why it's so critical to work on your self-love, to work on your belief system, to reflect on your life lessons. When you're hurt, don't just ignore those lessons. Reflect on them. Take time and try to understand what went wrong, what went right. And again, you could be 95% in the right, but there could be that little space of 5% where you have some growing or some learning to do. And if you're willing to embrace that 5% and take responsibility for it, you're going to manifest much better and have a much happier life. That's when you're likely to get the partner, and that's when you're likely to succeed as a 6 sensory in creating whatever kind of creation you want in your life, whether that's a job or a business or a marriage or whatever it is you want to make happen in your life. So these are the 2 big steps that help you get into relationships where 5 sensories are crazy about you. You're first comfortable in your physical skin, you're comfortable in your spiritual skin, and then the next step is that you want to be learning and growing all the time. So you're getting comfortable in your growth. That can look like intellectual growth, that can be reading about the world, that could be a new physical hobby that you're taking up, a new sport, that could be you're taking painting or you're writing a book. There are so many ways to grow yourself. And when you're constantly evolving and growing, that's the healthy way to have uncertainty in a relationship. So people sometimes create uncertainty in relationships by creating drama, and that's the unhealthy way to do it. The healthy way is to have boundaries to keep the drama out, and then grow yourself. That's how you keep things interesting. When you're busy with a new hobby, when you're busy growing your skill set, that's when the other partner becomes intrigued and wonders what you're doing. Instead of spending a lot of time communicating to that partner and saying, hey, what's going on? Let's do this, let's do that, and telling them what to do. Give them space and focus on yourself and grow yourself into the best self you can be. And that's when the 5 sensory is going to be really attracted to you and come running after you. And it's hilarious. I even had this happen recently where a 5 sensory, I was talking about intuitive ability. They were like, oh, that's crap. They're like dissing it so much. And I'm like, well, it works for me. And I explained some situations where it absolutely worked and created miracles and had proof. Then I was just let it be. I was just like, you know what, this person doesn't agree with me. We won't talk about this more. I'll just say it works for me. The interesting thing that happened was this person was very attracted to me, which I was kind of half expecting him to be like, oh, whatever, I don't like this person. And I was ready to let that go, but he actually ended up really liking me. So I was laughing so hard when he was gone. I was like, I can't believe that happened. But it does happen, okay? So you don't have to feel like you're isolated if you're 6 sensory. You can find your 5 sensory partners, your 5 sensory helpers, and it can be totally healthy, even though they have a different belief system.